Welcome to this week at FR.
Wherever you may be and however you may be.
Just like the herd said, however you may be or wherever you may are. I don't even know how I said that. Fuck you, GOAT. This is a post-draft reaction. Hot takes aplenty. We're going to get right into it. We just drafted. We haven't really done a lot of research. We looked at each team and we said...
We know how this league is going to shake up.
That's
what we said.
We know how it's going to finish. And how it's going to finish is with the following 14 teams in this exact order. We'll start at number 14. I just want to point out before we start, there is no team that's like clearly worse than everybody else. It was pretty good this year.
Pretty even draft altogether.
Kev, you were
no one really buckled this year, as we have seen in previous drafts, like Stein getting his 4 QBs. Josh usually tends to buckle at one point in the draft, but this year everyone has a pretty solid team, so it was tough doing this rankings. But let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's go. So our number 14 team is Joshua. Marco, why is Joshua coming in at the tail end of our ranking?
This Josh draft's not as bad as normal drafts, but my reasoning for putting him last is that the end of his roster and bench is bad. Like his 2 flexes, Miles Sanders, Marquise Brown.
I like Miles Sanders. He could be really good. Just it's gonna take a couple of weeks. So Josh's gonna have to really stomach and try and see what he can get with him.
Yeah. And a big question is, will Josh Gordon stay off of the weed? I don't know.
Unlikely he stays off the weed. He hasn't shown that ability yet. He's like GOAT with Levon. But yeah, his bench is thin. Brown's not really startable, so I don't love him.
It's got David Johnson, who can be a week winner, but also a lot of question marks there, right?
Let me tell you, there's a couple question marks around David Johnson. But at the end of the day, he's a top 5 back going into the season, so we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah. There's just no one that strikes me as like a home run hitter.
Yeah. All right, so moving right along to number 13, we've got the Inglorious Bonies, Jonah, the Clune of the draft. Kev, why do we have him just above Josh?
Jonah's team, he started off well with Saquon, although $80, Saquon obviously worth it, but did that kind of hurt the rest of his draft? I think so. Looking through his lineup, his receivers are all dart throws, Brandon Cooks, Deshaun Jackson, John Brown, even Derrick Henry, who knows, is he going to continue his hot finish last year?
It was only 4 games.
Yeah, only 4 games. Austin Hooper, Duke Johnson, I think he spent a bit too much on, which may have hurt him also. Tevin Coleman could be good, but also splitting the backfield with Matt Breida. And then his bench is quite thin also. So lots of question marks here. Has some good players.
For me, it's specifically at receiver. That his issue is they're all... Well, Cooks is a bit more consistent, but they're all kind of boomer bust guys.
Exactly, yeah.
And remains to be seen, John Brown and D-Jax. Yeah. They're going to new places, so you don't know.
But having Lamar Jackson at the quarterback is awesome because he's essentially an RB2.
But now that there's more film on him, like, what are they gonna load the box there? You never know. So, not a bad draft for Jonah, but honestly, when comparing him to all the other teams, he has to be ranked at number 13.
Yeah, I think Tepper was saying earlier that his team's going to be 100% different.
Yeah, I think come tomorrow morning. But honestly, by the time you're watching this, he might the whole league might look different. Jonah might have pulled 4, 5, 6, a dozen trades, and who knows what we have. So Jonah he's the team that I think might move the most in the next leading days. Yeah. All right, moving right along, number 12 was the most paralyzed person at this year's draft. Surprisingly, a lot of people thought it would be me coming in, but I think critics' consensus was that it was our number 12 team. Jabu, David Stein.
No. Stein was fucking lies during this draft.
It was lies from your talk that you gave him coming up.
It's true. I fucked him up.
I mean, he has some blue chip guys, but for me, he spent a lot of money early on guys who aren't going to play for like 4 weeks. So that, right off the bat, is problematic because in this league you can certainly not afford to go 0-2 or even 0-3.
Yeah.
So it's handicapping. Like if Mel Gordon comes back, it's a better looking team. Even that, despite that, Mel Gordon always kind of he's injured. He's got a boo boo. Fournette, literally his hamstrings are being held together by Misha's duct tape that he hangs his own ankles with.
Hangs his own ankles. Look, like Tony Pollard also, I think Zeke's going to end up playing, so that'll just end up being his bench stash. So he's got a hole at running back 2.
Sanders is washed.
Unless Melvin Gordon comes back, but once again, that's not looking very likely. He's got Dion Lewis, which is not a bad backup plan, but it just, you look through his roster right now, and we all like Mike Evans, but then the rest of his receiving core is also a bit questionable with Emmanuel Sanders and James Washington. So not a bad team, but lots of question marks again.
But some things have to go right.
And if Melvin Gordon comes back, he's got the best running back duo in the league by far. Yeah. And if they stay healthy, which it's a lot of things need to go right
Zeke
for Steiner.
and Nick Chubb. I'm just going to plug that in there.
Well, that's probably better. But anyway, Steiner's at number 12. Give us number 11.
Number 11, I'm going to recuse myself from this one because I am coming in at number 11 with my my dream team. So, boys, take it away.
Now, Tep wasn't completely lies during the draft. Like, he did do some things that were good.
He was a bit lies.
But he was a bit lies. You got Devontae, which is a great get. And, somehow wanted to go back to the well for Sammy. I don't know how many times.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Why?
Literally, it's just horrible.
I just wanted a piece of Sir Patrick's offense.
For me, the running back position it could be fruitful, but there's some risk associated with it. Ingram, Josh Jacobs, and Breda. Don't get me wrong, I like Breda. I was in on Breda. Ingram could be good. They run the ball a lot. Josh Jacobs, I truly don't know. It's too
It's just volume from my perspective.
Yeah, it could be good also. There's just, you look at Tep's roster, other than Devontae Adams, there's no one else that kind of jumps off the page. He's got some solid guys, maybe kind of like a Fredette team that he had last year that won him the championship. Solid team, but no one that jumps off the page other than Devontae Adams. So we'll see. Lots of things I think have to go right for Tepper, but I'm sure Jonah will be calling him. Anyone else who need running backs, maybe Neil will give Tepper a call.
Ooh, maybe I make one trade, but even before the season starts.
Right.
I do want it to be known that Kevin, just on this our inaugural episode of This Week in FRR, just compared my team, my humble team, to a championship team. So take that as you will.
Move along.
Speaking of championship teams,
moving on. You're not winning the championship.
Number 10,
guaranteed,
is our defending champion,
Freed and
Poop. Marco, kick us off.
It's a free team. It's certainly a free team.
Definitely
we just alluded to the fact there's no real standout guys. There's a lot of good players. Mm-hmm. So I think that his team's probably going to be pretty good, maybe higher than we ranked him. I didn't really understand Royce Freeman, and I don't like his bench, which is not a Freed calling card.
Bench is a little weak. What I do like, though, is that he has Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, especially since Steiner is rolling with Big Dick Nick Foles right now. So I think that Steiner made it known that he's happy to pay
civilized talk.
Exactly. He didn't want to pay the $3 lowly for J-Boo. He wanted to pay a premium on the secondary market. He said it here himself. So this is the secondary market, my brother.
Yeah.
Freed certainly needs a running back. So, I mean Damie's good, but with Shady and Damie, I don't know if he's going to be as good as he was. And then Singletary and Royce Freeman, it's a crapshoot. Everyone's assuming Singletary is going to be super good because they cut Shady. I don't know. Last year, everyone said Kenyon Drake was way better than Frank Gore, but they ended up in a 50-50 timeshare. So if he's in a 50-50 timeshare, he's not going to be an RB2.
And on a bad team, too.
Yeah. So that is a question.
So that is why our defending champion comes in at number 10 on the power rankings. Yeah. Right ahead of him at number 9 is our beloved commish, the leader of the glorious regime that is FORR, Jamie Jean-Yil. Kev, why do we have Marco this low?
Looking at Marco's team, another team here that has some solid players, but no blue chip guys that are going to win you weeks. Going to put up 25 points or maybe even 20 points on a weekly basis.
He does have Aaron Rodgers.
He does have Aaron Rodgers, but is Aaron Rodgers on the back end of his career?
Who knows?
He's got Devontae Adams there, and then a couple other question marks surrounding him. Wide receiver 2, 3, tight end. Aaron Jones could be good too at running back. I really like Aaron Jones, but nothing's been proven just yet. Will Fuller, Michael Gallup, and Calvin Ridley can all on paper, be high upside guys, but I think Marco's gonna struggle to get consistency out of those three players. Chris Carson's also, a lot of hype coming into the season.
Yeah.
I personally didn't like the price Marco paid for him at $56, but who knows?
I was in
really
on
well.
Carson, and the Seahawks every year they say they want to get this guy more involved. He's more talented. I actually think this is the year. That's why I was in on him. But definitely some risk associated with this. I also kind of like the Frank Gore look. Look, this is a guy who we write off every year.
Yeah.
And he's solid every year. Is this the year he falls off? Maybe, but we all thought 4 years ago was the year he was going to fall off.
But at RB2, I'm not sure if that's the best position for him, although he does have Kalen Ballage, who, has been getting the ball a lot for the Dolphins with Kenyon Drake a bit banged up, but the Dolphins are going to be behind all year long, so...
Kittle's looking like one of his most
Kalen
consistent
Yeah, he's got
players.
Kittle, which is nice. Larry Fitzgerald is good too. Corey Davis, who knows, maybe he'll pop off this year now that he's not on Toby's team. So we'll see. But there's lots of question marks, lots of potential here. So that's why I think he ranks at number 9.
Yeah.
Could go either way. Could shoot up our rankings or shoot down.
Which
the
is
rankings.
really, like, going through these teams, really how we feel about almost everyone, if not everyone.
Except for Jay.
Except for Josh, Jonah, Stein.
Yeah, exactly. Coming right in at number 8, we got the Stearns, who put together a pretty solid draft. My fact that they have 4 New York Jets, so I think they really like the new coaching staff that's coming in, taking over.
Gase.
Kev, you know a thing or two about that coach.
Adam Gase. He's gonna throw the ball a lot, so that's good for Stearns guys. But Le'Veon Bell looking like probably one of the biggest steals of the draft at $40-something.
Value, huge value.
Stern took advantage of that as being one of the first running backs being nominated. So great job on them. Very solid team though. He's got Big Ben, Robbie Anderson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Keenan Allen. Those are 3 very good receivers to have as your 1, 2, 3. Le'Veon Bell and Marlon Mack. I don't know. I've never been sold on Marlon Mack. I know some people are high on him, some people aren't. So not sure about Marlon Mack. Now that Andrew Luck is no longer there, does that hurt him?
The narrative changes.
Definitely changes. Then he's got Le'Veon Bell, Chris Herndon, Adrian Pearson, Jason Crowder. He's starting 4 Jets players.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's not pretty. But he does have Darwin Thompson, which
Darwin looks
love.
amazing. I think Darwin is going to be... I don't think he'll carve out a role right away, but I think come mid-season, that's going to be a guy you want on your roster.
Yeah, so, the Stearns have a pretty good team. Brandon did a pretty good job during the draft, and that's why he's ranked at 8. He can go also, like I said about Marco, he can shoot up the top of the draft of the rankings.
We also need to see what the Jets are going to look like.
That too,
we're saying, okay, Jameson Crowder, whatever, Le'Veon. We haven't seen him on the team. I don't know.
Yeah, we haven't seen him for a year.
So
it's been a while.
We're hopeful, but that's why they're low. He's low right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck the Jets.
All right, right above the Stearns at 7 is Mick, Mike.
Mickle.
Goff. All right, give me Misch's team.
Solid team when you look at it on paper, especially. So he's got Drew Brees, we got Julio Jones, we got Alshon, Joe Mixon, Jordan Howard. Tyler Eifert was a great last-minute pickup. If he can stay healthy, we know he's fine. There's nobody else really to throw to on that team.
He can't stay healthy.
But the big thing is, with AJ Green is on his bench.
Yeah.
And who knows if he's 4, 6, 8 weeks out if he's going to play this season. But if he does play, that's a Julio Jones, AJ Green, Alshon Jeffrey 1, 2, 3 attack, which is deadly.
Very good.
Yeah, and so that's why Mike's team go higher or lower.
Yeah.
If you're on the camp that thinks lower, then
Mish banking on his Bengals to lead him to victory this year. I don't know if I like that as a bet. That's as if as me betting on the Finnies to lead me to the promised land. It's not.
They're both
like
equally
that.
garbage teams. So
What's horrific is that he's got a $4 quarterback in Jared Goff riding the pine for him. So Steiner needs a quarterback. Maybe there's some nice civilized talks that go down.
Involve Toby to mitigate.
Yeah.
Mediate.
Wow. Can you tell we all have stoopy brains right now?
But yeah, Mike's team could go. He could be a riser. Depends on AJ, I'd say.
Yeah. All right. Coming in a full 6 spots ahead of his arch nemesis David Stein is keeping the faith, Toby, who put together a really solid squad.
Yeah, Toby's team is good. I like his team a lot, minus the last flex position.
Yeah, he really wanted to channel his inner GOAT, and he has 3 quarterbacks on his roster,
Yeah,
and
not
Baker
sure
Mayfield,
why he was doing
Kyler Murray, and Scam.
He wants to force
maybe-
talks with Stein.
I think
Yeah,
that-
maybe he's forcing talks.
I think that's a match made in heaven.
We're like the league Tinder. We're just matching people left,
Yeah,
right, and center.
it's-
This is great.
But I like his receivers a lot. Lockett now is going to be a big dog.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, always consistent, and who else do you have? Jarvis.
Yeah.
Jarvis,
Those are nice
Sonny
teams.
Michel.
Those are nice.
I think Sonny Michel is amazing, but like we said, with any Patriots running back, one drop, one fumble, this guy would go from like number 1 workhorse to cut.
No,
So,
I think he'll be good this year. And the guy who I think that Toby made his money on is Gurley.
yeah.
How do you guys feel about Gurley?
I like Gurley.
I think that all the
I think
negative
he's gonna
shit
be
is
fine.
just it was
Is it
BS.
bullshit?
Yeah. I think it's all
He's
bullshit.
gonna be fine. He's gonna be a top 5 back.
Yeah, and I mean Travis Kelce, I think is gonna have a monstrosity of a year.
So Toby needs to shore up his flex. Maybe if you can trade a QB to Stein
And
and
McCoy's
acquire
got
some
LaShawn
guys.
in his flex.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? LaShawn could be a nice
LaShawn, I
pick,
think again
or
mid-season could be
who
nice, or
knows?
could be on the
Lots of
waiver
things
wire.
happen though to get to mid-season. So
He's
who
gonna
knows
have to
what
trade
he's
a quarterback at the end of the day.
Yeah.
One of the QB's got to go for somebody serviceable. But I think that just what he has now is a playoff team.
Yeah, and again, if he can flip one of his 3 quarterbacks for another solid player to GOAT, specifically GOAT, it could be really good for Toby. All right, number 5, just ahead of him, is Troy, who I feel like Troy always has solid drafts. Like,
Yeah, he's got really
always in
good
the top end.
keepers. He's got good keepers.
Yeah,
Much love,
Like,
Troy,
leverage.
much love.
When Josh gifts him
Yeah.
James Conner for free,
God.
I'd have a good draft
How many
too.
more years
That's
does he have
fair.
James Conner?
3
Two more.
Two more.
Two
Yeah.
more. So this is the first year
Yeah,
he's
the first
keeping.
year as keeper. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
Josh.
All right, who wants to run down his team? Josh, sorry. Troy has a great team.
He's a great trio of running backs. David Montgomery, James Conner, Kerryon Johnson are really solid.
Deshaun Watson is his quarterback. Adam Thielen, Geronimo Allison, who I really like this year. I think you want a piece of the Packers
you
offense.
want him as
He has upside guys, but outside of Thielen, nothing is like a sure thing.
I
You're
think
just
I think
assuming
him
people are going
and
to take next
Yeah.
steps.
I think him
Absolutely.
and Neil can make a perfect match for a trade.
We-
Neil's got a plethora of receivers that needs a back, and Trevor looking here. He's got a lot of running backs that he can dish out to.
Like
we're
He
all
also got
about,
also
we're all about
Anthony. He
bringing the
also
league
has
together.
Anthony Miller on his bench.
Yeah,
That's a
he's-
nice stash.
but again, Anthony Miller also. It's like you're assuming he's going to take a next step. You're assuming Curtis Samuel's going to take a next step. You're assuming Geronimo's going to take a next step.
A lot of things need to work
David
out.
Montgomery, is he going to be good? He's a
I
rookie
think he
running
is,
back. I
but
think he's
it's-
going to be good too. But I mean, that's a question mark for sure.
You don't know what the
Latavius
split's
Murray,
gonna be.
I don't know. Like
He's going to be Ingram of last year. It's
Yeah.
gonna be whatever
You
Ingram
think?
was.
not as involved though.
I
think.
can't imagine,
Ingram.
but-
I don't think he's nearly as good as Ingram.
He's not, but they have to. They don't want to overwork Kamara, so they're going to give him touches. And
Yeah, and then the
like
Saints
Free
offense-
says, touches, touches, touches. We just want to see the touches.
Ooh, opportunity.
But
Ooh.
yeah, Troy's playoff team right now. I'd
Yeah,
say.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, now we're in the top 4. Rounding out the top 4 is True Netty, who solid team, top to bottom. We got minus his starting quarterback situation, which is his
Yeah.
namesake.
But it's not
But I'm
Matt
sure
Ryan,
he'll
too.
start Matt Ryan. I'm sure this is just a morale. True's going to lead the guys out the tunnel, and then we're going to swap the starter.
Yeah, it's going to be Matty Ice. Receivers are great.
More
Essentially are all
Michael
in the
Thomas.
WR, Thomas and Cooper are WR1 conversation, and more. I mean, he's the man there right now. So.
Yeah. And the fact that he's the number 3 guy, even if he's not as much of the man as we think, like you have Thomas and Cooper, you will be fine, my brother.
He has his Bears: Allen Robinson, Tariq Cohen, True.
Yep. And he got Ebron again from his team last year. Although who knows how
He
that's
runs a
going to
fade
go.
candidate, and he's just banking on one of the Bucks running backs to come to fruition for him. But speaking as someone who had Peyton Barber for a large majority of last year, they're both trash, and you should cut them both. But yeah, he has a good team.
Very
And
good
there's
team,
some guys on his bench that are startable. Like starting caliber players. So I think he's going to be a challenger. It's just a matter of will Neil muster up the energy to make a couple trades or tweak his team. I don't know. We'll see.
We will.
See. Yeah.
All right, top 3. Number 3 is one of our hosts, Kevin Libman. He's not going to talk about his team, so shut your mouth for this section. But his team's fucking good, and it's not just because he has Patrick Mahomes and alleged child abuser Tyreek Hill. He's got His receivers are amazing. Reek, Hilton, Sanu.
Don't group
I don't know.
Sanu in there.
No, but as
He has
a
two
as a
good
third
receivers. Sanu's a third guy. Sanu's going to be maybe a flex guy. That's not the strength of this team.
Yeah.
The strength is the top-heavy guys. He has two great receivers. He has Mahomes, and he has two great running backs. Zeke's probably going to play from week 1, and Chubb.
Yeah.
They're both drafted in the top 5 backs, so they're top 5 guys. Jared Cook's really good. Eckler, even if Melvin Gordon plays, he was still flex-worthy. And then if Melvin Gordon's not going to play, then you're talking about a guy who's an RB2.
Absolutely.
So it's a top-heavy team. The bottom, Kevin's going to have to figure out what to do, what he's going to do.
But he's got the reigning NFL MVP on his team, who might regress to the means and might only throw 45 touchdowns this year. Who knows? With that being said, it is also worth noting that Vaughn is stashing Rob Gronkowski on his bench. So if this guy ever decides to come back and play,
Dude, there's already talks of
keeper.
him coming back and play. I'm actually a bit pissed that I didn't think of that myself.
yeah,
It's a great pick, and
great pickup.
that would literally answer all the questions to his problems, and give him the extra guy out of nowhere who's going to be depth.
And Eckler, I don't know if we talked about Eckler.
We did.
but,
I mentioned him.
Okay, cool.
Open your fucking ears.
I tuned out. My bad.
But yeah, I'd say certainly top 3 team. He was in the mix to be number 1. These next 2 teams are really good though, so there's a reason.
They are the cream of the crop of this year's FR, as anointed by your 3 experts. We've got number 2 team, Fish and Z. Where to start with this team? Tom Brady, OBJ, Antonio Brown, Dalvin Cook, Evan Ingram.
Character concerns, talent, character,
high upside. Look, coming in, there were a lot of lulls around Sterling Shepard, but they were able to work with it. In fact, they also kept Terrell Pryor.
Dude, listen, they had a bunch of money before the draft. Shepard's a perfectly fine WR3.
Yep.
They have 2 WR1s.
Yeah.
Geis and Cook, that's fine at running back. Free.
Geis
is
questionable.
Geis.
Geis is their flex guy. They have Free and Dalvin
Oh,
Cook,
that's true. They have Devontae
which is
Freeman.
perfectly
Fine,
startable
yeah.
running backs. Geis is a good flex player. Ingram's a top 5 tight end. We'll see what they're going to do after. I think, can you scroll down? They got Albie Wilson, who I think is low-key going to be a pretty valuable
Z was
guy.
over here. He was ratting me. I respect that, though. Much respect.
They also made a trade. They acquired Jackson.
Oh, are we breaking some news
Oh,
right
yeah.
now?
Breaking news, actually, coming out of the depths of, where do they live? Fish and Z? Hampstead?
Somewhere Jewish.
Hampstead. We've got a nice trade from Hampstead to the Lachine Canal. We've got a trade by Neil trading away his defense of Philly to Fish and Z for the San Diego Chargers defense.
Who rebranded recently to Los Angeles Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers, sorry.
Huge trade. Big moves for them. But in all seriousness, no, their team's very good.
Huge trade.
They have some depth guys. But the top of their team, like their starting roster, week 1 is
good.
The second strongest.
Yeah.
Only beat by the strongest team.
By our first team, drum roll please for number 1. Jay, the number 1 team in Tasia.
For me, Jay had either best or second best keepers, maybe behind Kevin.
Yeah.
And he just followed his strategy again. McCaffrey, Kamara, and he has Edelman, Juju, and Lindsey.
Yeah.
So with those guys, it's easy to fill out the rest of the way. But I like that he got Pettis on the cheap.
Yep.
Delaney Walker's pretty good.
Marvin Jones
I
on the
think
cheap
Marvin
too.
Jones
on
is
the cheap.
sneaky.
And then whatever, Kirk sucks, but
Who cares?
it doesn't really matter. You can get another quarterback.
We just mentioned teams with 3-4 guys.
Yeah.
Maybe you consummate with Toby. That could be really nice, civilized talk.
There is a glaring weakness is his bench. He's gonna have to.
Bench
He's gonna have
is
to pick up some guys.
really weak.
But he has by far the best starting team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
He's got guys that will win him weeks every week.
And with that, that's the hot take, the rapid reaction from this year's FOR draft. Should be a barn burner of a season. Obviously, we already know how things are going to go, so I don't think there's too much mystery for us. But
How's it gonna go?
we just ranked. We just told you how it's going to go.
Oh, so you're not considering your team as a championship?
No,
I
Tepper's
don't
not
think
winning.
my team's gonna be in third. It's gonna be number 1.
Tepper's not winning. There's zero chance. But anyways, thank you everybody, and until next time, have a good one.